watching NotesIn9.
Hello, and welcome to NotesIn9. I'm David Leedy. Episode 157, Dabbling in Bootstrap and Font Awesome. Could the Marky Mark show be coming to IBM Connect Ed? Here's hoping. Okay, I want to take a couple minutes here and talk about the XPages and iOS 8 update problem situation. So as far as I know, when iOS 8 came out, we have three problems. The first one was web uploads no longer worked to upload from the device to a website, and Apple fixed that in 8.0.2. Actually fixed it in 8.0.1, but they had some other issues and pulled that about an hour and 10 minutes later. Second, the edit box type ahead is not working, and you could do a type ahead, and the things would drop down, and you could kind of select it, but it wouldn't do anything. So that was kind of a bummer. But that was fixed in Domino 901 Fix Pack 2. So the 901 Fix Pack 2, that fix pack gave us a new version of Dojo and a new version of the CK editor. So it's good that it fixes the edit box problem, but if you have not yet applied this, you do want to be careful because it broke some other things, especially the CK editor is my understanding. So now, again, I don't have a problem with some things breaking because this is kind of a new world we're living in. It's not the old Notes client and all this backward compatibility promises and guarantees and stuff like that. You want everything to be backward compatible, but the reality is that we're using these different projects, and to some things we're at the mercy of the projects themselves. So just be aware of that as you deploy the extension library, because sometimes there's the problems coming through there, or these fix packs with updates. But I'm very glad to see these projects getting updated in a fix pack. That is awesome, because the sooner we get to the latest versions, which we're going to talk about in a couple minutes, fair warning, but the sooner we get to the most recent versions, the better off it is. So problem number 3 was this little problem called mobile controls was not working at all with XPages and iOS 8. Now, the problem is clearly in Dojo, because mobile controls come from Dojo. I don't know what the problem is. The problem sucks, because people who upgraded now are locked out. So, again, I don't blame IBM for the problem. This is probably more of a Dojo and Apple problem, and we're just caught in the middle. So I do want to be clear on that. But here's my issue on it. I don't know where we stand with the resolution of this problem. I know the resolution is to get us a new version of Dojo. I'm pretty sure, in my personal opinion, it's going to come in the form of a fix pack. I don't know. I don't have any kind of time frame on when that is. If IBM can rip out a fix pack in a week, it's already been 2.5, 3 weeks. Or if a fix pack is can't be ripped out in a month or 2 months. So someone said he would post an update when they had the plan on my blog, and I didn't see that post, so I don't know what the plan is, if there is any, and I probably won't be buying that person a beer the next time I see him until I find out what the plan is. So hint hint, person who shall not be named. But anyway, we've got a problem here, and we don't have a fix for it from IBM. Some people have applied the latest version of Dojo, because that does contain the fix, to their server manually, and there's instructions on that in Stack Overflow. We've chosen not to do that because we're just afraid of the risk of it breaking other core pieces of XPages and stuff like that. So right now, our users who have upgraded to iOS 8 are dead in the water, and they're not happy about that, which is disappointing to me because I have to hear it. So let's talk about mobile controls generally for a minute. We're gonna have a little opinion here, but mobile controls comes from Dojo, and you can go to their site and Google Dojo Mobile, and you can see them and see what they are and what they offer. And there's some tutorials and stuff like that on using them straight. And mobile controls in itself is a great concept. Have a native-looking web application that has the speed of web development, so you don't have to go through the App Store or deployment and stuff like that. It's kind of like the best of both worlds. And a web application is easier, I think, for users to learn, and there's less training needed in something that looks like a mobile application, right? Whether it's web or local. It's just easier because usually they're less featured too, but the users just seem to understand it. My opinion on the mobile controls project is that it is best for small scale applications. And when I say small, I mean like Ant-Man small. Tiny, I mean like 4 pages small. And you go up to 5, and you're like risking the forces of nature coming down on you, because I do not believe they scale well. I deployed a mobile controls application about 2 years ago. I had a lot of struggle getting it through there. I had a lot of help from IBM, which I'm very appreciative of. But at this stage of the game, they're just not there, in my personal opinion, and I am working diligently to replace that app with something else, which will be Bootstrap. And unfortunately for me, is I didn't beat iOS 8. Now, I didn't know the problem was coming, but I wish I had known. There would have been a lot more late nights involved sooner than there are now. Another problem that I think is keeping up with the changes, right? So already we've got this iOS 8 problem, which again is a Dojo problem. It's not necessarily an IBM problem, but we're waiting on IBM to get it to us. I'm very excited that IBM's doing this fix pack, updates to the fix pack. I think that's great, and I want to see more of that. Bring them on. The more the merrier. But this is not an IBM only issue. Dojo itself is not keeping up with the changes, I don't think, because iOS 8 has a whole new UI, and I think it even changed in iOS 7. I don't follow the project that much, but I believe the mobile control still looks like iOS 6 in the Apple world, and I've got no idea what goes on in the Android world. So even Dojo itself might not be able to keep up with the changes of the problem, and if it's not a native-looking app, well, that's one of the key selling points of it, was a native-looking app. Well, they don't look native anymore. The XPages Mobile Controls is very difficult to debug and work with because it's a single-page application. You can't do view page source easily. You've got to go on the web developer tools, and as you move to these mobile, these fake pages and stuff like that, catch the HTML that comes down, and it's a problem. It makes it very tough to work with. The next issue is my personal, I guess, favorite or worst. They lack key features. All right. The biggest key feature to me is that there's no fixed bottom tab bar out of the box. Show me an XPages or show me a mobile application that doesn't use some kind of bar along the bottom with 3 or 4 icons or a settings icon or so. It's ridiculous that we do not have a tool for this in the palette to make this easily work out of the box. It's crazy to me, and that alone would eliminate me from ever using them again, because I can't make it look like a native application that the users expect. Now, it can be done because we do have the full dojo there, and Keith Strickland has posted a workaround in that. But IBM made this great wizard in there. I mean, and the wizard is cool to kind of get you up and running. But what's the point of having the wizard if, again, your application doesn't look like every other application out there? So we really must have that bottom tab bar, in my personal opinion. So what am I doing? My plans are just moving to Bootstrap, 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 and I'm trying to rip these out as fast as I can, and I'm gonna go to just a normal web application. I'm gonna switch pages. I'm gonna switch URLs, and we're gonna lose the little transition bits and stuff like that. But we're gonna gain in scalability, hopefully, and development time, because it's going to be easier to develop and work with. And quite honestly, there's a lot of information out there on Bootstrap, so if I get stuck with something, it's pretty much a Google question away. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read this blog by Eric McCormick on his site, and his blog is called What is an SPA? An SPA is a single-page application. So I don't like single-page applications because of my experience with the mobile controls, and that they're hard to debug, but I guess that's not every single-page application. So I'm not sure if jQuery Mobile is a little different, if AngularJS is different. So we were talking on kind of Twitter, and we had this conversation go back and forth, and Eric came out with this really looks like a well-written blog article that I did not read yet, but I'm going to, and I highly recommend you checking it out, and check out his website because there's really good stuff on there. So that is my plan, is basically to figure out what's next and have a little less dependency and have something hopefully more that I can control. I believe AngularJS is a single-page application, but contrary to what some people might say, Mark, I am not sold on AngularJS yet. and I'm sure debates will follow. But I don't believe there is one all panacea of what to do, just because that's where certain people want you to go. But I'm uneducated on that, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to educate ourselves. All right, so let's get on with the show. We're continuing the NotesIn9 Hackathon. We're going to try to get to 199 shows, and I've got an open invite right now. So if you have an idea, please, come on the show. Send me what you want to do. Let's talk. Let's work together. I've already talked to a bunch of different people that I'm excited about, and I want to talk to more. It's not that difficult. Clearly, I've been rambling for the last 8-9 minutes, and how hard can that be? Um, so if you're working with XPages or another technology of interest, I'm interested in talking to you. Today, again, here's my favorite slide. Today we've got a great new contributor. I've been emailing him for a while. I forget how we hooked up. If it was through the XPages forum or what. But his name is Daniel Friedrich, and he's a great guy. He's a great developer. He's doing a lot of interesting things, especially in the Bootstrap realm. And what I really like about him, he's a customer, just like me. And it's just kind of nice being a customer, not a business partner. I think you could say whatever you want. And he's been a developer for over 14 years in the Notes platform and some other things. And he's on Twitter as XPagesandMe, and that's his blog as well, xpagesandme.wordpress.com. And he's going to come on today, and he's going to talk about Bootstrap and Font Awesome and kind of like getting started. And he has a series of blog articles on his blog, so I highly recommend you go over there and check that out. And with all that being said, let's go to the demo.
Hello and welcome to today's show, Dabbling in Bootstrap and Font Awesome Part 6 for Reuse Me, or XPages and Me goes NotesIn9. So, a little bit about me. My name is Daniel Friedrich. I'm working in IT for over 19 years. I've been a Lotus Notes developer for over 14 years. As you know, I run my blog xpagesandme.wordpress.com, and you can also reach me on Twitter at xpagesandme. So what will I show you today? The first thing I would like to show or talk about a little bit is the Bootstrap grid system. And then I'm going to demonstrate how to use the reusable custom controls I have created in my previous blog posts. So let's get started. Alright, as you might know, Bootstrap uses a grid system with rows and columns, and as it is mobile first and is also responsive, that means that when you shrink the screen size, Bootstrap will automatically break down the columns and rows in order to make it viewable on a small screen. So Bootstrap uses these classes for small devices, which is phones, extra small devices like phones. The prefix for the class is call XS. For smaller devices like tablets, the prefix is call SM. Medium devices like desktops, it's call MD, and for large devices it's call LG. And the cool thing about Bootstrap is you don't have to create different columns for the different devices. All you have to do is just tell the column, for phone device I would like to make the column that wide. For a small device I would like to make it that wide. So you can combine all these classes together, and you don't have to create individual columns for the different devices. So if I go to the example page, which I would recommend for you to take a look at, you can see in this example they mixed mobile and desktop devices. So they have a setting for this column which basically says that on a mobile device, please make this column 12 columns wide, so take the full width that Bootstrap provides. For desktop device, make this column 8 columns wide. And here on the second one, they say on a mobile device, please make it 6 columns wide, and on a desktop device, please make it 4 columns wide. Now what you need to keep in mind is that the maximum columns that you can use is 12, and that means if you have 2 columns side by side, like these two here. So for the desktop device it's fine, so they're all are displayed in one row. But as you can see, if you were to minimize the screen, then this would be a total of 18 columns wide. So Let's just minimize the screen and see what happens. So if you press Control plus to reduce the screen size, so as you can see, the first column was extended up to 12 columns wide, and the second one was extended to 6. But because 12 and 6 is larger than a 12, Bootstrap automatically breaks down the second column into a row below the first column. So that's pretty neat. And as I said before, I would recommend take a look at these for you to take a look at these pages and read through it, and it's going to explain a lot of stuff. So let's get to using my reusable custom controls. Okay, so I created already a demo X page that currently just has the layout and the navigation bar in it. So previewing this in the browser, it looks like this. So this is a nav bar with the title, and we are going to create, or I'm going to create, a custom control that will have 2 columns in the first row, with 2 fields in each, and then the second row that will contain the buttons. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm starting out with obviously creating another custom control, and I'm just going to name this CC Demo Form. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag and drop 2 of the row custom controls in here. And as I said, we're going to have 2 columns in it, so I'm going to drag and drop 2 of the column controls in here. And then I'm going to do some settings on these column controls. So I'm going to select the first one. So what I want to do, I want to have an offset of 1 on desktop devices, so it's not close to the edge. So I'm going to select 1 here. And for mobile devices, I just leave it blank. I just wanted to take it the whole width. Then for the column width on a desktop device, I'm going to select 4. On a mobile device, I'm going to select 12. I want to take it the whole width. So on the second column, again, I'm going to select an offset of 1. So that means it's offset by 1 from the first column. And I leave it blank for mobile devices. And then on a desktop device, I would like it to be 4 columns wide. And on a mobile device, I would like to have it 12 columns wide. Now I'm going to add a third column, which is going to be for the buttons. And for this one, I say the offset in a desktop device, I would like to have it as 1, so I want it to be flush with the first column. And I'm just going to say I wanted to take it the rest of the width, which would be 11, 12 minus 1. And on a mobile device, I would like to have it as 12 columns wide. Okay. Now I'm going to switch to the outline. And I'm going to drag and drop the first 2 columns into the first row, and then the third column into the second row. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag and drop in the custom controls that I need for my edit boxes. So I'm going to drag and drop 3 of the control wrappers. And then I'm going to drag and drop 1 of the input group wrappers, and I'm going to use the one with the button. And then I'm going to drag and drop in my edit boxes. And I also need to drag and drop in a button, and I would like to have it displayed on the right hand side. So I'm going to drag and drop it into the button right facet. Save it real quick. Now I'm going to give the fields some names. And then I need to do some settings on the control wrappers themselves. So I'm going to select the first one and go to the custom properties. So here I can pass on information that I need. I need to pass on the field ID. So the first one is ITXC test1. Form group size I'm not going to worry about it right now. But I would like to display a help block text, so I'm going to enter something here. And I would also like to display a label, so I'm going to enter something here. Okay, for the second field or the second control wrapper, I need to pass on the field name. And I don't want to display any help block text or label, so I'm just going to leave them blank. So on the third one, again the field name. And I don't want to display any help block text, but I would like to display a label. Now for the control wrapper, I need to select where I want to display the button, so I drag and drop it into the right facet. So I'm going to select right here. And on the left hand side I would also like to display some text. So I'm going to select the add-on position, left. I'm going to pass on the field ID. I would like to display some help block text. And then for the add-on, as type by selecting text, and then I just type in some text here. And then we're going to save. Okay, so just to make sure that I got the field IDs right, I'm going to check the fields again. Okay, so next thing I need to do is I need to drag and drop these control wrappers into their respective columns. So the first two are going into the first column in the first row. And the third and fourth control wrapper, they go into the second column in the first row. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is I need to drag and drop in some buttons. So I'm going to have one for OK and one for cancel. So I would like to display a Font Awesome icon in each of the buttons. So the next thing I'm going to drag and drop into my custom control is my FA icon custom control. So I'm going to drag and drop in two of them. So the first one I want to display a check. So icon fixed with, I'm going to select yes or true, and icon name is FA check. Icon size, I just leave it as it is, so I just want to have the default size, and I don't want it to be spinning. So for the second one, again I select icon fixed with to true, and I would like to display a little X for cancel, and the name for that one is FA times. Not sure why they named it like that. Icon size, again I'm not selecting anything, and icon spinning I leave as false because I don't want it to spin. So the next step is to just drag and drop them into the button. So the first one is going into the OK button, and the second one is going into the cancel button. And then I just need to drag and drop these buttons into the third column, which is in the second row. So we're going to do that very quick. Save it. And then we're going to use it on our demo form, so I want to switch over there. And then I'll just drag and drop this one in here. And save that. And then I'm going to clean my project. Okay, and now I can, if I go back to my preview and reload this page. So here are my fields that I added to the custom controls. Here's our first field with the label and the help block text. This field didn't have any help block text or label. This one just had a label, and here's our input group with the add-on text on the left side and the button on the right side, and with some help block text here. Now, if you remember, we had said that on a mobile device you would like to have the columns 12 columns wide. So if I reduce the screen size, you can see that as soon as it reaches the screen size for a mobile device, it breaks the fields down into individual rows and extends the columns to 12 columns wide. So if I go back, then it's back to its normal form. Now I would like to add some color to my two buttons down here. So the OK button I would like to have displayed in green, and this one I would like to have displayed in red. So if I switch back over to the Bootstrap side, and look at the buttons. So for a green button I would add the class button success, and for a red button I would add the class button danger. So let's do this real quick. So let's go back to our demo form and to the outline and select the OK button, go to the style section, and then just add button success. And here just button danger. Save our changes, build the cleanup and build the project. And then go back to our preview and reload the page. Okay, so I obviously entered the wrong class. So let's go back and check what the class name was. Okay, so it's button danger. And that is right. Just check again. Okay, so let's just clean the form again, or the database project. And let's load this again. Nope, it doesn't want to play today. So let's just copy it. And paste it in. Oh, okay, it's gone. Okay, I see what happened. So I need to switch. Sometimes when you have nested controls like this, and you do the changes here on the properties, and being in the design pane, the changes are not saved. So I need to switch to the source tab and select the button again. And then paste in the class and save it. And then clean it. Okay, let's give it another try. And there we go. So that was just a prime example how quirky Lotus Notes and XPages can be sometimes. So these are just things that we have to live with as XPages developers, I guess. And so that's it for my demo. The only thing I wanted to make you aware of, you probably noticed that I didn't add any classes to the fields and to the buttons as described here in Bootstrap, where the button class starts out with btn. The reason for that is in my theme, I already set default classes on certain certain controls. So I have one for the view panel and for the button, and so I'm already setting these classes on these elements, so I don't have to do this every time I use them. And I would suggest that you do that as well, and that actually was inspired by a post by Tim Tripconi, and so I just adopted it into my application. And so that's it for my demo today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something, and I will see you next time. Thank you very much.
And that's the demo. I thank Dan greatly for coming on, and I'd love to have him on again. So start thinking of a new idea, Dan. And if you're watching this show still and haven't turned it off, then maybe you could be next. And again, drop me a line. Here's my email address. If you're interested in coming on the show and contributing, or contributing a blog post that I'll publish for you. And if you have any questions on anything, here's my information, and I thank you for your time.